Hello, thank you, Laura, for joining me today. Would you like to give a little brief intro into who you are and what you do?
Yeah, no worries. So I'm Laura McDonald. So I'm a leadership coach and mentor. I work with clients, both private clients and corporate clients, to give them the power and confidence to be the change they want to see in leadership. So my aim basically is to support you to make the impact that you know you can in leadership. And I'll do that being totally focused on you. Your job is to care about your team. My job is to care about you. So that's
amazing. I'm sure you can help loads of people with what you do, because I know exactly what you do. And how, after our just conversation a minute ago about helping people out with all their gas bills, that sounds crazy. To Laura. So we've been obviously working together, and I have designed your new logo and branding for you. What was it that made you kind of initially reach out to a designer rather than doing it yourself?
Well, so by the time I came to you, I think I'd been in business about 2.5 years, and everything I had up to that point was my own kind of fiddlings around on, like graphic software and whatever. And I just kind of thought, you know what, I don't have the eye for this. And it was just partly it was waiting, obviously, to the point that it was right to do it, and right to sort of get some consistency, and that it was right financially and all the rest of it. But then, but it was also just like how I felt about my brand, because like I said, up till then it was all I had. I was lucky to have professional photos, but the logos and everything else, the color schemes, and there was no consistency with it at all. It was relying on my creativity, which is a bit harebrained at times anyway. But just trying to get some kind of consistency within my brand. I just got to the point where I thought I have to do this through a professional, because I'm not the person that's equipped and skilled to do this. As a business owner, you have so much on your plate already, and you are every job title before the one that you actually created. So and I knew this was something I didn't have the skills to do. And actually, if I wanted my brand to be what I wanted it to be, what I envisioned, and for it to feel good for me, I needed someone who could take my vision and turn it into a visual representation, and that wasn't me. So
it could be really hard as well, especially because you are the business and you're so close to it as well. Like, regardless of if you're a designer or not, it could be really hard to kind of see that when you're so immersed in it as well.
100%. It's just, you can't see wood for the tree some days. I had all these sort of basic fonts or colors or whatever that I was using sometimes, but then an idea would pop into my head, and of course I would just run with it.
Yeah.
which then led to complete inconsistency. So yeah, there was just, whereas now I've got everything all in one place, and every single time I do something, it's completely consistent 100% throughout. There's no deviation from it at all. And also, I'm the kind of person that needs that sort of template and structure to run from, so that made my life a lot easier, and design since then has been so easy.
I'm glad to hear that. Do you know, because I see your stuff pop up on LinkedIn and everywhere else, so I'm like, oh, she's done quite a good job of that.
Yeah, I'm good if you do the start bit. I can do everything after that. I just can't do the start.
It's just knowing what to do sometimes as well, isn't it? Like, you've got all the stuff there. It's a bit like having your ingredients to a recipe. If you haven't got all the ingredients there, the recipe is, the finished result is going to be just not as good as you wanted it to be.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So how did you find the process of working with me from beginning to end? Like, how did you feel that flowed for you? And like, how did it help me kind of understand what was in your head, I guess?
I feel like the way that you structured things like initial meetings and the tools that you use, obviously, to put all of that in one place, made it a lot easier for me to get what I was thinking out of my head. Like, I was quite strict, because obviously it's only me that's ever dealt with this, so I was sort of struggling to try and put into words exactly what I saw for my business, and you kind of helped me do that, just by even like simple things, like when you started bringing up all the examples of like different fonts and stuff, and you said just sort of point out to me which sort of groups of fonts like resonate with you, things like that, it started to really narrow down my options and just go, okay, yeah, let's pick from this tiny pool rather than this massive ocean.
Yep.
And it just helped me really figure it out. You designed a process that allows anybody to really clarify for themselves like what a brand should look like for them. And I mean, obviously we knew each other anyway, so conversation was easy. But I have a feeling that you're one of those people that makes that happen anyway. Every time I've spoken to you since the first time we met has been easy. But you just made it, really relaxed. There was no pressure to sort of like, pick options. Even if you had something in your head in mind for my business already, I had no idea what it was. You never tried to sort of force that on me. It was all about what I wanted. You know what I mean? So if I was struggling, you could see that and you would just go, okay, let's try this, and very quickly a vision sort of came into place, and that then produced mood boards and everything else that you sent me. And I just went, core blimey, she's got it. That's it. That's what I want. You
need somebody to hold your hand and guide you through the process a little bit, because it can get really overwhelming otherwise. There's just so much out there, you just don't know where to start sometimes.
Yeah, you really don't. And it's so easy to get caught in like making things more complex as well. You think, oh, it doesn't look quite right, I'll add something else in, and then before you know it, you've got like an ocean full of stuff. And it's just, it's so hard to overcome. You just made it so simple and easy, to just break it down and say, okay, well, there needs to be a limit on how much we actually put in here. So this is, and you sort of helped me establish what those limits were, which presented a really clean view of like what I wanted, but I could see how it was going to remain simple and easy for me to do as well as you.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's the main thing as well, isn't it? Because it's all very well just like designing something, but when you hand it over as a designer, when you hand it over to someone, you've now got to use that every day. So it needs to be kind of clear to understand. And I think the other thing that I love to help my clients with is creating something that is them and represents them, because we spoke about all the colors and things that you like and didn't like, because there's no point me saying to you, right, okay, you've got to have something that's completely against everything that you like, just for the sake of it, because then you're just not going to feel that same confidence going out there in the world with that and pay money for something you don't like.
Well, that's it. Yeah, it had to represent me. It was all very well sort of having a brand that was clearly leadership coach oriented, but actually if that wasn't aligned with me and who I am, because that's the single biggest part of my business, and I think most business owners can say that, like what you bring to the table is not the job that you do. So if it didn't represent me, it would have been worthless. So the fact that you were able to again sort of establish my interests, the things that I'm drawn towards, the things that I see and that kind of stick in my head, you were kind of like, yeah, okay, there's some consistency there, these are your brand colors, and it all sort of came out and I was like, yay, they're my favorite colors. And you pinpointed them exactly. So that was very, very helpful, just to not get lost in that.
Thank you. And I just jumped in. I was getting too excited asking you the next question. So when you kind of got those initial proofs through with all the concepts in place, how did that kind of make you feel when you got those initial ones and you opened them up for the first time?
Yeah, I think it was exciting. It was like, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to have a brand. I'm actually going to have like consistency. I'm actually going to have something that represents me, that I feel good about. It started to, although obviously like things like icons and things like that weren't necessarily created yet, it was easy to see how you were going to try and fit them all in. It was easy to see the kind of design features and stuff that you were going to go for. It was easy to see how this was all going to come together in a very smooth way, like that would just provide that consistency for me, so that actually anytime anybody saw that, they would know it was me. And I was just kind of like, this is what I've had in my head all along, I just didn't know that's what it was. But you just had a way of being able to present that just said, here's Laura.
Transferring it, literally like plugging us in like Matrix style into your head, so I can kind of just get what's out in there out.
And it was weird because like a lot of the colors that are included in my brand, whether they're the, you know, the very exact colors, but you know, the colors themselves are things that you see everywhere.
Yeah,
But it just felt so unique to me. It still
yeah,
felt like, you know, this is going to be my brand. Everybody's going to know that it's me. It belongs to me. It's not going to be mistaken for somebody else. It's not going to be mistaken for something else. It's going to be something that belongs to me. And yeah, despite them being such common, I suppose, colors in so many brands, like it was, you were able to make it unique to what I stood.
to you.
Yeah,
It is, and I think as well, because like what you say, that there might be similar things out there, but when it's got that meaning behind it as well for you, because I like to look into what is meaningful for that person. I don't just go, right, okay, here's something here, and I'll slap it on a page. It's got to have the meaning and the context behind it as well, so you can get that feeling, and it does feel unique to you, and then it
yeah.
comes across to your audience as well.
Mm.
Because otherwise, yeah, otherwise you're just going to look like everyone else, and we don't want that.
Definitely not.
Was there something unexpected that you got from working with me?
Oh,
I've put you on the spot now, haven't I?
yeah. I know it sounds weird, but like, so the badge that's on the front of my jumper, it's just make the impact you know you can. So this was one of the kind of secondary lines that we came up with for things like social media content, and obviously off the back of that, you created badges and stickers around that, and that has really stuck with me, and it's elevated the way that I communicate to clients. And
Okay.
it's not a statement that I ever would have thought about, and it was me that wrote it, but I only wrote it because you asked. You know what I mean? And I stuck with it. So there was plenty of other sort of, you know, little bits and pieces that you gave me, like icons and whatever else that I could have put on the front of my jumper, but I just thought that has to be it. That has to be the thing that sticks, because now I talk about making the impact you know you can all the time, you know, and I'm able to relate it to every single client, and I'm not trying to force it. There's no, it was just this almost like this secret message that came through that had been there all along, and now it's like, yeah, it's there, visible for everybody to see all the time. So yeah, it was surprising how much that came to the front of it, because obviously I talk about, you know, giving leaders the power and confidence to be the change they want to see. And most of the work I do is focused on helping leaders change, you know, in themselves, or change other people, or, you know, change for other people. And, you know, but the ultimate goal is to make that impact,
Yeah.
you know. And I was kind of like, that's what it's all aiming for. And that's come through so much clearer in, you know, not just with clients, but also through my messaging and my marketing and everything else. It's really stuck. And the only reason it came to the forefront was because you asked for a
Oh,
secondary
wow, I
statement.
never knew that much. That's really cool to hear that, because
Yeah.
I like making the impact that you, so you can make the impact.
Yeah. It was just such a
Brilliant.
random thing, but it's so aligned, not just with everything that I've said and done since then, but even looking back, you know, everything was talking about impact. Everything was talking about, you know, does this feel right for you? Does it feel right for everybody else? You know, are you making the impact you think you can?
Yeah.
You know, is this the best you can do? Is this what you want to do? You know, and that's what I'd always been talking about. It was just that, you know, solidifying it in a single statement had never been done. And yeah, it's really come to the front. And so many people now, when they see my jumper, they're just like, oh, what's that thing? And I'm just, you know, and it's nice because it's just like, yeah, I've got my messaging now, well and truly 100%.
It's kind of like that thing that's the undercurrent that's running across your brand, and now we've kind of pulled it to the forefront, and it's something that you live by anyway. So, oh, I love
Yeah,
that. I didn't realise I'd made like literally that impacted you so much. That's awesome.
yeah, yeah. It was a really big surprise, but it's a wonderful one because I think it just made everything that came out of working with you so much more meaningful. You know what
Yeah,
I mean? Because it was like, okay, it's not just a brand, and it doesn't just, you know, visually represent me, and it doesn't just feel good. I've now got a clear message to send out to everybody. And yeah, I think that was the primary thing that I wanted out of branding, was just having a clear message that I could give everybody. And you know, what good leader doesn't want to make the best impact that they can make,
yeah,
you know?
true.
So yeah, it's working.
Oh, brilliant. I love that, and I love that it's on the front of your top as well.
Yeah, and my t-shirt that I've got underneath. So.
It's on everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, so you've kind of touched on this a little bit already, but you've mentioned now that you've got your branding in place. Now you come to do like your social media graphics and all the bits and bobs that come with a business. Like, how does it make you feel when you're putting all that stuff together? You mentioned before it's a little bit easier. Like, I
Yeah.
guess that just really helps just again put all the pieces together.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so much quicker for a start. It just, because everything's already there, and because you're able to do things like
Oh,
for example, like set up a color palette in Canva, you know, or set your primary fonts and your brand kit and all this sort of stuff. You're able to just have that there, so that then instead of searching for stuff or having to type in numbers all the time, you're literally just clicking on a button. It's
yeah.
just, you know, and because I know what it should look like now, everything I design is now completely consistent and literally takes maybe a quarter, maybe even a fifth of the time that it used
Oh, wow.
to take me. It's given me more confidence with some of the types of content that I do as well. So I was quite used to sort of, you know, putting photos out there of myself with, you know, the logos in the corner or here, there, and everywhere. But when it came to like, you know, information packs about, you know, programs that I'm running or masterclasses that I'm offering or whatever, it just made it so much quicker and easier to get to the point, because I wasn't spending so much time overthinking about the text either, because I'm not spending all that time on the colors and the fonts and everything else. So it just made me get to it quicker. And when it came to things like my YouTube videos and things like that, you know, all the sort of backgrounds and all the points and the
Yeah.
graphics and everything else that are used there, it just came together so much faster than it used to. It used to take me hours and hours and hours to develop one video for YouTube, and now I'm able to do it in maybe 90 minutes,
Wow,
you
that's
know,
crazy.
from start to finish, recording and all.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah, just being able to do that has just, it's saved me so much time. It's taken stress away. It's helped me focus really on like the content of what I'm saying,
Yeah,
you
rather
know.
than what it looks like, because you know what it's
Yeah,
going to look like.
exactly. It's just taken the pressure off, but it's also reassuring to know that no matter what I put out there, it's consistent,
Yeah.
you know. It all looks the same.
Because I think in your, because we did quite an extensive brand guidelines for you as well, didn't we? So that really helps you again take that thought process away, because in it's dictated to you, not dictated, that sounds a bit horrible, bit too formal, but you know what I mean? It's kind of guiding you. Like, this is where you use the headings, this is where you use the subheadings, this is where you can use all the other bits and bobs that make up your brand. So again, it's
Yeah,
taking that thinking process away from you. You just have to kind of follow the rules. And again, that's why, another reason why, you know, you said as well, it speeds everything up because it's all done for you.
yeah, that's it. I mean, I had a corporate client that I started working with a few months ago, and so one thing I designed for them was like a work pack for each participant, and the design stuff that you put in for me about how to do things like that, you know, all came into that. Now that I've got that, every time I need something like that, you
Yeah.
know, it's just a case of like, you know, copying and pasting it all over into a new document and obviously adjusting the content. But it's just made it so much quicker. And even that initial work pack, you know, just what I thought was going to take me, you know, days and days and days to do, was suddenly done in like 5 hours.
Oh,
And
brilliant.
I was like, wow, you know, this is, you know, it's not just good, it's like super quick as well. And I felt confident handing that over to my clients. I felt confident that they would get the best out of the day, because again, I hadn't spent so much time focusing on the design that I'd overthink the content. The content was clean and simple, just like the design, you know. And that's exactly what I wanted from this. It's honestly, it's not, you know, they say time is money. This has saved me so much time. It's ridiculous how much time it saved. And I just feel like my stress levels have come down enormously
Oh, wow.
because of that, because I'm not spending so much time being so hyper focused on something and just staring at a computer screen. It's there, it's easy, it's manageable, and everything is producible like that.
Oh, wow, I'm really glad to hear that, because I don't think of those things in some respects. It's really nice to hear how much it's helping you. And also then, as you kind of said, it helps you help your clients, because you can then give them the best of you instead of like being all stressed out because you've been on Canva for ages. You can then give them you, and
Yeah.
the workbooks and things, you know, again, that helps them. And if it's all cleanly designed, they're going to feel more confident in you as well. So it's kind of like that ripple effect down the line, really, isn't it, in a way?
Yeah, I mean that work pack was the first thing I had professionally printed as well.
Oh wow.
Um, so I got like, you know, proper pack, like binded and everything, and I got it printed out. And I showed up at the print shop, and they opened the box and let me look at the thing just to sort of check it was okay. And I just like I burst into absolute joy in front of these two
Oh
baffled
really?
people at the printers, because they were just like, I was just like, that's my new branding. You know, it was so exciting to just see it like there, like a physical. I know I'd been doing it like online, you know, for a couple
Yeah,
of months by that point, but like just to have a physical thing in my hand to go, this is my brand, you know. It was amazing. And they both took a look at it and went, it's great, it looks amazing, like, you know, that's
brilliant.
fantastic. And I was like, yes. And so yeah, every time I've had something printed for like coaching sessions and stuff since, I still get that same feeling of like, yes, that's my brand, you know, that's there.
You're excited to give it out rather than kind of apologizing and cringing almost. You're like quite
Yeah,
excited to actually hand stuff over.
exactly. I came up with these little question cards for another coaching session that I did with group work a couple of weeks ago. And like I just, yeah, I spread them out on the table in preparation for that section of the day. And I just, yeah, I looked and like my brand was everywhere. It was all over the table, and it was up on the television screen, and it was, you know, all this in their work packs, and like, yeah, the whole room was covered in my brand. And I was just like, this is amazing. It was
That's
brilliant.
brilliant.
Absolutely brilliant.
Surprised
You
people
know,
didn't leave with you branding them on the way out.
yeah. It was just kind of like, I'll stick a new sign on your building, you know, I'm sure you'll be okay with it. But yeah, it was just such an impactful moment to know that I've got something that completely represents me. It's unique to me. It feels like me, and that actually I'm really proud to show everybody else. Whereas before it was like you say, you know, on the verge of apologizing every time I did a LinkedIn post, just because of how terrible I thought it was. Um, but yeah, to just be proud of what you're putting out there is such an incredible feeling, and it's boosted my confidence as a business owner as well.
And I
Just
guess that kind of comes through as well, because if you're feeling good about it, then you're gonna like give the most of yourself to your clients as well. So it kind of has that energy throughout everything as well.
exactly, yeah. It just, yeah, it's just me beaming with pride 24 hours a day. You know?
Skipping
My
down
clients are like, who are you? And I'm like,
I'm
here
this.
I am. Read the t-shirt.
I'm back.
Yeah.
I've got one final question for you. And if you could tell anyone that's on the fence something like about working with me or a designer in general, well, or particularly me, because obviously that's why we're here today. But what would you say to them? Like if they're on the fence, have you got any like wise words or things that you'd like to say to that person?
Like I said, I think just, yeah, working with a designer in general, I think you just have to, it's the same with everything else in your business. You have to recognize where your limits are. If you're not the person that's, you know, that's got the skills or is in the job to be able to do this stuff, there's absolutely nothing wrong with making your brand feel the absolute best it can for you. So to do that, you need the person that's made to do that. You know, in this case, that's you. In terms of working with you, you know, I would say just the whole process just feeling so easy and relaxed, and there's no pressure to do stuff, but everything's completely organized, you know, and there's constant updates about what's going on with your branding as well. You know, there's constant you know, communication between the two of us about not just like what's going on, but how I feel about it, how you feel about it. You know, there's just this constant like, yeah, relationship that's building. And so, you know, I mean, you know, since I've had my branding now running, I've never had one problem whatsoever with answering who did that, you know.
Oh, right, wow.
Because it's just kind of like, yeah, look to Tracy, she's the person that produced this amazing thing. And obviously I know a couple of other people that you've done branding for as well. So I already knew that the quality of your work was high. I watched what you did for, you know, my accountability buddy, and her branding looks incredible now, and she's so proud of it. And I just thought, I want that. It's, you know, it's not just a case of producing a product with you. It's you wanted to make me feel good about what I was sending out into the world. And that was the reason I chose to work with you. So working with a designer is just recognizing that you're not the person to do this for yourself, that actually it's okay to ask somebody else to do it. But working with you, it's, you know, what I value is people that want to make that impact, you know. And you made that impact on me, and I'm now able to make a better impact on other people because of that.
Oh,
You
it's so
know,
good to hear. I'm so happy that I could help you. And thank you for trusting me as well, because I know that when you initially hand something over to somebody like this, it's a really big deal. It's like handing your baby over to someone that you don't really know that well and leaving them with it. And you're like, is it going to be okay?
yeah.
What am I going to be left with?
It
So
was a bit, but it was, you know, at the same breath, I was like, you've got evidence, you've seen what else she's done elsewhere, you know, and you know that she's good at her job. So yeah, it was a real person rather than just churning out more stuff and more stuff. And I appreciate, obviously, you're in business yourself. Your job is to try and increase, you know, your own income. But you know, it's you care about every client, and I think that's what made it a unique experience, and that's why I'm glad I came to you and no one else. You know, there were plenty of other people that I'd sort of looked into previously who just basically treated me as a number, and I
yeah,
was like, my branding is going to come out crap if I do that. You know,
yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
um,
Vibes that you can pick up off of people like that.
yeah, it's so easy, but you just sort of said, no, let's have a proper meeting, let's really, you know, talk. Obviously we knew each other anyway, but you were like, let's get to know each other better, let's understand what it is that you want from this. And it wasn't just a case of, you know, sell me the highest package, it was sell me the package that's right for me, you
Yes.
know. And that's worked out perfectly, absolutely
Oh.
perfectly. So yeah, I honestly couldn't be more grateful. I don't know where my business would be now if I hadn't decided to work with you. So
I like to think I've got a little bit like of, yeah, I can, if I can help you just feel that little bit better about your business, and yeah, then that's my job done, because that's all I ever want somebody to do, is just to kind of fall back in love with their business again and feel good
yeah,
about it.
that's it. Yeah, I love what I do for a living. You know, there's a reason that I'm doing it, but I needed everything that everybody else saw to feel that way too.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's exactly what's happened. So yeah, like I said, I'm proud to just shove all of that out into the world and go, please look at this. Even if you don't work with me, just look at my branding. Yeah, just have a sneaky bit. Check out my LinkedIn profile; it's lovely. You know, and just try and, you know, yeah, just sort of get that thing across, and that, you know, I still would be doing my job, I would still be sticking with my business, but I highly doubt that I would feel the way that I do about it now if I hadn't chosen to work with you. Even if I'd just gone with another designer, I have a feeling that it just would have ended up being like a it's all right kind of feeling. You know,
Eric,
yeah, I've got the best outcome 100%.
I'm so
So
happy to have helped you. Thank you. So I've kind of come to the end of the chat now, but is there anywhere that anyone watching this can kind of come and find you and find out more about you?
yeah, absolutely. So if you search for Laura the Leaders Coach on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can search at Laura the Leaders Coach on YouTube, or you can head to my website, which is www.lauratheleaderscoach.com.
Oh, brilliant. Well, thank you for your time today. And yeah, I'm sure we'll be seeing you everywhere soon. Right.
Thank you very much.